Okay, everybody, welcome to another episode of On the Rest from Off the Cuff. Today we have another cool update for you guys from the brand Brellum. Now, they were founded back in 2015 by Sebastian Mueller, who is part of the fourth generation in a watchmaking family dating all the way back to 1885. Now, with over 25 years of personal experience within the Swiss watchmaking industry, that's when Sebastian decided, hey, I'm going to start my own thing. And of course, this is Swiss made, and their tagline is really, they're all about Swiss watchmaking, as an independent brand, developing, producing, and marketing high quality timepieces for admirers of exceptional craftsmanship. And that's really what they're known for, guys. Now, a little bit about this type of watch. This is a chronograph. Some key common characteristics and design language when you're looking for a chronograph. Of course, you're really just going to have those external pushers, which activate different types of timing functions. You're going to have multiple subdials that measure elapsed time, often featuring additional scales depending on the subgenre. Now, this particular one would be the subgenre of a pilot's watch, which is really cool because I've really enjoyed my classic dual box, but this is known as the pilot power gauge chronometer. Now, this is within that aviation subgenre, and it's inspired by the aircraft cockpits and instruments, essentially. And it really immerses you in that world of an aviator. Now, the power reserve indicator is even a bit of an ode to the fuel gauge in a cockpit, along with other key timing functions. So as important as what your timing is, of course, your fuel level is also very important. So I think that power gauge really fits into the theme here and to a very handsome watch. So with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. Alrighty, guys, this is a beauty. Look at this dial. Look at those raised indices there. Really absolutely gorgeous. Loving that blue sunray finish. Now, a little bit about this one. As far as the pricing goes, you can get this for as seen at 29.90 Swiss francs on bracelet direct from Brellum, or you can get it on strap for 100 Swiss francs less at 28.90. The taxes are not included, but shipping is free worldwide. And of course, if you are purchasing within the United States, then you don't have to worry about that. So that is definitely a nice benefit. Now, as far as the specs go, this is a 41.8 millimeter diameter, so just a hair under 42 millimeters. But I think that's actually a really nice size for a chronograph, especially considering how thick the movement is typically within a chronograph. Now, the nice thing about here is the height is 15.8 millimeters high, so it's slightly thinner than your typical Brellum dual box classic. It has a 51.8 millimeter lug to lug, so a little bit on the longer side, but it does, as you can see, have those nice sloping lugs, so it actually does wear quite well. And honestly, it's already quite a thick and large watch, so I think proportionally it doesn't seem like it just has long lugs. It's just relatively a larger sized watch. This is, of course, full stainless steel. It is brushed and polished with these also having the polished pushers there. And then these great high polished bevels. You can see the transition absolutely to a luxury level. Let's go ahead and get these pushers actuated though. Ooh. That is some beautiful action there, guys. I'll let that run for a little bit. Yeah, well, actually, let's get the sound first. All right. Beautiful. Now I'll let it run. Okay, so this thing, wow. I mean, obviously it's gorgeous. It's a looker. It does have that beautiful box dome sapphire with inner AR coating, which absolutely just exudes excess and luxury and just beauty in design, guys. For me, I mean, the crown jewel is perfectly fitting to this because this sapphire is absolutely gorgeous on here, and that's something that is carried throughout the Brellum line, but it's something that obviously does add a little bit of height. This is already a little bit taller, but for me, absolutely worth it because it all kind of ties in within the theme. So I'm definitely digging that. And then on the back side, you do get this gorgeous movement, guys. Check that out. My goodness. Absolutely beautiful. and then it just has this illusion where it's just sitting almost outside of the case back there because of that beautifully curved sapphire on the rear end there. My goodness, that is gorgeous. I love the way that it plays with the light, the way that the slight kind of boxed edges there give you a little bit of distortion, a little bit of magnification, and just a little bit of play added with all of the bells and whistles of this absolutely meticulously finished and well crafted movement. Just fantastic, guys. All right. So enough of the drooling there. This movement is known as the Brellum BR750PR automatic chronometer. It's basically has a 7750 base, which of course is hacking and hand winding, and this is officially certified by the COSC. So that's gonna keep amazing time. Basically -4 + 6 seconds a day, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Now when we get into this dial here, there's a lot to love as well. Wow. Okay, so we have, of course, those raised indices. We do have a little bit of loom there. Basically, not every spot is loomed. Of course, the brushed numerals there are not going to be loomed, but we do have loom at those cardinal positions, which is going to be great for orientation within the darkness there. We also do have the date, which is at 3 o'clock, as well as the power reserve indicator. We have these really great hands, which I really like that they did that painted accent there, which helps you really zero in for the timing, which I really appreciate as somebody who cares about how good of a time and accuracy my watch is keeping. I like to actually set it quite precise based off of the Greenwich Mean Time, and basically the internet, what the interwebs tell me is the atomic time is what I go with, and I take great pride in setting my watch to that, and especially when it is a chronometer where I don't have to pull the crown out so often to kind of reset it and get it back going again. It's really nice to have something that is really precise, and really that's the theme here, guys, with Brellum is it's just the precision and the craftsmanship is absolutely outstanding. We have the beautiful blue sunray brush dial, and then you have, of course, these really nice brushed and painted accents everywhere else. You have a red tip seconds hand, which I think has a nice little bit of visual pop there. The loom that's used is Swiss Superluminova BGW9. This has 5 atmospheres or 50 meters worth of water resistance and has a 22 millimeter lug. Now for this gorgeous bracelet here, guys, it does have a slight taper to it, about 2 millimeters down to 20 millimeters here at this push button clasp, which is really excellently done. As you can see, this isn't by any means a parts bin piece at all. Everything is original for Brellum. I'm just very, very impressed by just the level of attention to detail. And of course, this is the same bracelet that is on my dual box chronometer that I love as well. So it's nice to see here, and obviously it has a really great contrast in that it can be quite dressy and feel still yet quite sporty at the same time. So that said, let's go ahead and get this piece on wrist and see how it wears. All right, guys, as you can see on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, this thing wears just gorgeous. Yes, this it's larger, right? But it's a chronograph, and it is a beautifully executed one at that. One thing I do like is that with those 22 millimeter lugs, it actually does give you a little bit more meat in terms of the visual weight, and I guess maybe even some of the sizable weight on this bracelet. So the bracelet doesn't feel underpowered against this beautiful, gorgeous case. It feels like it flows really, really well, and I think it helps it wear. And I think, of course, as I get really close on a wristy here. The lens distortion is going to make it seem very large, but honestly, you know, I put a little bit more arm in here, and definitely if you were to see me in person, a human body tethered to this watch versus just you know, a forearm and a hand, believe me, it doesn't seem oversized. It definitely, I think anyway, fills the space really, really well. And look at the way those brushed Arabic numerals catch the light. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. So yeah, this thing is sweet. Sure, it's not going to be easy to slide under a cuff, but man, why would you want to cover this thing up? This should be seen. Roll up those sleeves and get this thing out in the sun, because it is worthy of some of your time there. My goodness, absolutely gorgeous. And, you know, if you're going to have something that is going to be a little bit larger, a pilot's watch is really meant to be larger. A chronograph is meant to be larger. And a tool watch generally is meant to be a bit larger. So this is definitely a case of, you know, the form factor tying in to the functionality. So with that, let's actually get some loom shots, low light transition, and closing thoughts. All right, let's go ahead and hit the lights. As you can see, that BGW9 is pumping away. There is a little bit of distortion on the edges of the crystal there, which might not be letting, you know, some of the loom glow as bright as it should. The nice thing is you do have really great orientation, because you can clearly see that 12 o'clock there. Now, one thing I do like to work in, of course, is low light transition, because you're not always going to be enjoying direct sunlight. You know, I like to get you more of a realistic look at how this watch is going to wear in mixed lighting situations. Oh, look at the way, oh my God, look at the way this dial masterfully just plays with the look at from the hand to the indices. Goodness, wow, that is awe-inspiring, guys. So of course you're not always going to be out in the middle of a field enjoying direct sunlight. A lot of times you're going to be coming in and out of a building, walking underneath an overhang, or maybe spending some time in your favorite vehicle. So as you watch the light glide over these finishes, over these different surfaces, the brushing, my goodness, the polishing, see how uniform it is as it flows, as the light flows over those links. That's really a telltale sign, because when you get into the harsher lighting situations, typically it can expose those imperfections. But as you can see, this thing is just done to such a high luxury level. It's absolutely just breathtaking. Wow. And yes, I'm a fan, so I might have some biases here, but yeah, no, I mean, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Personally, I think it's one of the best deals in the business, guys. On the wrist, you know, it has balanced proportions. It's, yeah, although it's tall, it doesn't feel bulbous. It's definitely classic without feeling derivative. You know, you can recognize that pilot nature of the layout, but it doesn't necessarily feel like a substitute for anything else. I think this does give you kind of a nice step into, I guess, that IWC-like territory. Because I think IWC does a really great job of marketing kind of everyday wearable pilot's watches, and this is right up there in terms of fit and finish build quality. I'd say, I mean, there's things that I kind of like better about this than I've seen handling some IWCs up close. But of course, this costs a lot less. It's a lot younger of a company. You're not going to get the type of street cred, you know, that you would get from an IWC. But if you're not too huge into that, I think you might actually get a little bit more brownie points in terms of originality when you're talking to kind of that watch, you know, idiot savant crowd who are crazy about these little off-the-wall micro brands that are just packing in so much value and just such a high level of execution for the money that you're paying. So the nice thing is, yeah, well, although you might not be getting a name like IWC associated, you also won't be paying IWC prices. You'll be paying Brellum prices, which I think are definitely definitely fair for the market, if not just maybe a little undervalued at that, just because of the success and just really the key. They have something, right? You see a Brellum watch and you can tell it's a Brellum. It just has that aesthetic. It has those beautiful curves and lines, and I'm just infinitely impressed with pretty much all of their releases, and I've been happy to feature a few and actually own a few as well. So this one, of course, is just a loaner because it's not available for purchase yet, but it actually will be dropping the end of this month, so keep an eye out for that, guys. I guess model variants to cover that really quickly. We have a black dial, a silver dial, of course the blue dial. So there's those three options, and you can get them either on the leather strap or stainless steel bracelet. The leather straps on these are really quite nice. Comparable models, guys. Of course, there are tons of 7750 powered chronos out there, but nothing at even twice the cost comparing to this level of fit and finish, guys. So you take this price and you know, say, hey, what can I get for, you know, 3,000 bucks, 3,200, 33. I mean, you're literally going to be going into some Breitling territory to get anywhere close to this, and it's going to cost a lot more, and you can find a lot more that is a lot more expensive when you're really trying to find something comparable, as far as maybe some of the more fashionable brands and you know, that maybe aren't quite of horological significance, but of kind of brand recognition when it comes to chronographs. Those are still generally going to be more expensive, and they won't even be chronometers. So just something to kind of think about when you're spending your money, guys. Here, bottom line, amazing value for what you get. Of course, a COSC certified automatic chronograph executed to an absolute luxury level of finishing, not often found, if ever, below 5,000 bucks. So yeah, Sebastian's done it again, and yeah, I'm still impressed. But what I will be doing is actually shooting a short take version of this. So if you made it this far, don't be surprised when you see another video listed that's actually the short version, because with the growth within the channel and kind of expanding my format here, I do like to do, of course, kind of the full off the cuff review, but I think I'm going to be actually peppering in also some short takes, essentially, that are a little bit more on time. So for those of you that maybe only have 5 to 7 minutes to dedicate to something like this, hey, I'm going to have you guys covered too. So with that said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do it like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.